That sound, that glorious, unfiltered 10-cylinder symphony, is the heart and soul of the 2025 Audi R8 V10 Performance Quattro. And in today's world, it's an endangered species. For nearly 2 decades, the R8 has been Audi's halo car, a masterpiece that blended breathtaking speed with a level of everyday usability its rivals could only dream of. It was the supercar you could genuinely live with, the sensible choice in a completely irrational segment. It shared its bones and its magnificent engine with the wild Lamborghini Huracan, yet it always carried itself with a cool German restraint. It was the supercar in a perfectly tailored suit. But the world has changed. The bedroom posters of today are silent assassins. Cars like the McLaren Artura and the Ferrari 296 GTB have totally changed the game with hybrid power, instant electric torque, and mind-bending tech. By the numbers, they are better in almost every way. They're faster, they're more efficient, and they represent the bleeding edge of car development, which leaves this car, the final version of the V10-powered Audi R8, in a very strange place. Audi has confirmed that production is ending with this 2025 model year. The successor will be fully electric, so the car we're driving today is a ghost, a brand new relic from an era that has already passed. So, we have a huge question to answer. In 2025, is the Audi R8 still the best supercar? Or is it just a beautiful, noisy, wonderful dinosaur? We've brought it to some of the most demanding roads we know to see if this icon's last stand is a blaze of glory or a quiet fizzle into history. The legend, an icon, deconstructed. Before we fire it up, you just have to stop for a moment and take it in. The R8's shape has been a familiar sight for years, but familiarity hasn't bred contempt. It has bred a deep, deep respect. This design has aged like a fine wine. It's a masterclass in proportion and stance. Up front, the design is still so sharp and aggressive, but in a clean, calculated way. The massive honeycomb grille looks like it wants to inhale the horizon, flanked by piercing LED headlights that give it an unmistakable signature at night. For this final model, Audi added 3 small slots at the edge of the hood, a little nod to the legendary 1984 Sport Quattro rally car, a subtle hint at its performance heritage. Every line feels like it has a purpose, pushing air exactly where it needs to go. Move along the side, and you see the feature that defined the R8 from day one, the side blade. Here on the performance model, it's finished in gorgeous gloss carbon fiber, visually separating the cockpit from the engine bay. It breaks up the car's profile and screams mid-engine. The cab-forward design, the long, sloping rear deck, it's pure supercar theater. The wheels are intricate, beautifully finished, and they fill the arches perfectly, giving the car a low, menacing stance that's still somehow elegant. But the rear, that's where the real business is. This is the view most other drivers will see, and Audi made sure it was a good one. You have these massive oval exhaust pipes, not fake tips but genuine artillery-sized cannons that broadcast that V10 sound. A functional, aggressive diffuser sits below, managing airflow, and on this Performance Quattro model, a fixed carbon fiber rear wing provides real downforce and leaves no doubt about this car's intentions. And then there's the centerpiece, the crown jewel, sitting under a huge pane of glass like a priceless diamond, the 5.2-liter V10 engine. Audi could have hidden it, but they knew this was the main attraction. It's a statement of pride. It's mechanical art, and putting it on display is one of the R8's best party tricks. It's a promise of what's to come. Overall, the R8's design is all about quiet confidence. It doesn't need to scream with wild wings and crazy details like its Italian cousin. It has an architectural purity, a sense of rightness, that has made it a timeless piece of design. It is, without a doubt, a stunning machine. Now let's see if that beautiful driver-focused feeling continues on the inside. Open the solid, satisfyingly heavy door, and as you slide into the cabin, one thing hits you immediately: minimalism. This is a cockpit, not a lounge. Where modern supercars are now dominated by a sea of touchscreens, the R8's dashboard is clean and uncluttered. There is no central infotainment screen. Let that sink in. In 2025, a six-figure supercar with no big screen in the middle. It was a bold move when this generation launched, and it feels even more radical now. The passenger gets a clean dash, a climate vent, and a fantastic view out the front window. Their only job is to hang on. Everything is focused on the driver. The command center is Audi's virtual cockpit, a 12.3-inch high-res screen sitting right behind the steering wheel. This one display is your gauges, your navigation, your media, and your performance data. And you know what? It's brilliant. The graphics are still sharp. It's endlessly configurable. And it keeps your eyes exactly where they should be, looking forward. You control it all with buttons on the flat-bottomed steering wheel, which feels fantastic in your hands. This steering wheel is another work of art. It's wrapped in beautiful leather and Alcantara and houses the most important controls. On the right, the big red Start Engine button, straight out of a fighter jet. Below it, the button for the exhaust, so you can go from civilized to savage with one press. On the left, the Drive Select button to toggle through comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual modes. And on this performance model, another button with a checkered flag. This activates the performance modes, dry, wet, and snow, further tailoring the car's behavior. It's all right there, at your fingertips. You never have to take your hands off the wheel to change the car's entire personality. The materials in here are just superb. Everything you touch feels expensive. The optional diamond-stitched Napa leather on the seats is exquisite. There's real carbon fiber trim on the dash and doors. The knurled metal switchgear for the climate controls clicks with a satisfying mechanical precision that's gone from so many modern cars. It feels hand-built. It feels special. The seats themselves are fantastic, heavily bolstered as you'd expect, but also surprisingly comfortable. This gets back to the R8's core mission. The supercar you can drive for hours without needing a chiropractor. The driving position is spot on, and despite sitting incredibly low, the view forward is panoramic. But what about practicality? Where do you put your stuff? Well, the door pockets are slim. There are a couple of serviceable cup holders, but don't expect to fit a giant drink in there. There's a small shelf behind the seats for a jacket or a small bag, and that's about it inside. As for luggage space, the engine's in the back, so the trunk is in the front. Pop the frunk, and you'll find a 112-liter storage bin. Is it big? No. It's smaller than a Porsche 911's. You could fit one or two soft weekend bags in here, but you'll need to pack light. It's not the car for a hardware store run, but for a weekend getaway for two, it's perfectly fine. So the interior is a paradox. Its signature feature, the virtual cockpit, was futuristic when it debuted. But now its lack of a central screen and its focus on physical buttons feels wonderfully, refreshingly old school. It's a space dedicated to one thing and one thing only, the art of driving. And now, it's time to do just that. The reality check. Soul versus science. All right, the moment of truth. You find that bright red button on the wheel, press it, and the next few seconds define this entire car. There's a high-pitched whir, a churn from the starter, and then, bam! The V10 explodes to life with a sharp, guttural bark before settling into a busy, menacing idle. It's loud, it's dramatic, it's intoxicating. And we're still just sitting here. Pull the beautifully crafted paddle into first, and let's see what it's like to just drive. In comfort mode, with the exhaust quiet, the R8 is shockingly tame. The magnetic ride suspension does a remarkable job of soaking up bumps. It's firm, you never forget you're in a supercar, but it's not punishing. It's more comfortable than a lot of hot hatchbacks. The 7-speed dual-clutch shifts smoothly, the steering is light, and visibility is great. You could genuinely daily drive this car. But nobody buys an R8 for the commute. They buy it for what happens when you push the dynamic mode button. The change is instant. The suspension stiffens. The steering gains weight. The gearbox holds gears longer. And most importantly, the exhaust valves open, and that polite hum becomes a full-throated roar. Now let's talk about this engine. It is, without exaggeration, one of the greatest ever put in a road car. In a world of muffled, downsized turbos, this 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V10 is a glorious, defiant masterpiece. The power delivery is so linear. There's no sudden wall of torque like a turbo, no weird, silent punch from an electric motor. It's just a relentless, soaring crescendo of power. The more you rev it, the harder it pulls and the better it sounds, urging you to chase that sky-high red line. Throttle response is razor-sharp. The tiniest flex of your foot gets an immediate reaction. It feels connected to your brain. And the noise. Oh, the noise. It's a complex mechanical symphony. At low revs, it's a deep rumble. In the mid-range, it hardens into an angry, metallic howl, and as you scream past 7,000 RPM, it becomes a high-pitched, soul-stirring shriek that sounds like a classic F1 car. Pull the right paddle, and the gearbox delivers a seamless, brutal kick in the back. Back off the throttle. Pull the left paddle, and you get a series of loud, explosive crackles and pops. It's pure, unadulterated automotive theater. It is the soul of this car. But, and this is a huge but, emotion is one thing. The game has moved on. Raw performance is now the domain of a new breed of supercar. Let's talk about the ghosts at this feast, the hybrids. Cars like the Ferrari 296 GTB and McLaren Artura. On paper, they make the R8 look old. The Ferrari, with its twin-turbo V6 and electric motor, makes over 800 horsepower. The McLaren is a lightweight carbon fiber missile with seamless electric torque. They can creep through a city on silent electric power, and then, on a track, they unleash a level of acceleration and grip that is simply a generation ahead of this Audi. That is the reality check. They are products of science, of cold, hard, calculated efficiency. They are faster, full stop. So how does the R8 feel when you push it to its absolute limit? Does that old-school analog character still deliver when the road gets truly challenging? Let's find out. Toggling into performance dry mode, everything sharpens to a razor's edge. Turn into a tight corner, and the front end bites with incredible tenacity. The steering offers a genuine sense of what the front tires are doing. The car feels planted and incredibly stable, thanks to the legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system. You can get on the power ridiculously early out of a corner, and the system, which is rear-biased, just shuffles power around and rockets you out with zero drama. It makes you feel like a hero. It lets an average driver safely exploit a huge amount of the car's performance. But is it as playful or agile as its newest rivals? Maybe not. You feel the weight of that big V10 back there. And while the Quattro system provides immense grip, it can lead to a hint of understeer if you get too greedy on corner entry. It's less willing to dance on the edge than a rear-wheel drive Ferrari. It prefers to be driven with clean, precise inputs. It's a hugely effective and devastatingly fast way to cover ground, but some might say it lacks that final bit of dynamic sparkle you'd find in a McLaren or a Porsche GT3. And this is the R8's central conflict. It demands more from you to get the most out of it. You have to keep the V10 screaming high in the rev range. You have to be in the right gear. The hybrids, with their electric torque fill, are always ready. They are point-and-shoot weapons. The R8 makes you work for it. It makes you a core part of the experience. For some, that's a weakness. For others, it's the entire point. Before we deliver the final verdict, if you're enjoying this deep dive into what might be the last great analog supercar, take a second to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We go this in-depth on all the latest cars, and your support is what lets us make these films. Now, let's see how the R8 really stacks up. The verdict, the head versus the heart. So, where does that leave us? After spending the day with this magnificent machine, is the 2025 Audi R8 still the best supercar you can buy? Well, that depends on how you define best. If best means the fastest lap time, the most horsepower, or the most advanced tech, then the answer, sadly, is no. In 2025, the Audi R8 is not the statistically best supercar. If you line this car up next to a Ferrari 296 GTB, the Ferrari will win. That's just a fact. The hybrid V6 in the 296 churns out over 800 horsepower, and its advanced chassis gives it an edge that the R8, at the end of its life, just can't match. The same goes for a McLaren 750S or even the Artura. The hybrid revolution has brought a level of performance that the purely internal combustion R8 has been surpassed by on the timesheets. Compared to its other rivals, the Porsche 911 Turbo S is an all-wheel drive missile that can probably beat the R8 off the line, but its flat-six engine, while effective, lacks the soul and sound of this V10. A Porsche 911 GT3 is a sharper track tool with more steering feel, but it's a far more compromised and less comfortable daily car. And then there's its sibling, the Lamborghini Huracan. Sharing the same engine and platform, the Huracan is the louder, more aggressive choice. It's a little faster, a little wilder, and a lot more expensive. The R8 has always been the more refined and comfortable of the two, the supercar for the adult in the room. So the R8 sits in this strange but wonderful place. It's not the sharpest, nor is it the fastest anymore. But does that mean it's not the best? This is where we have to talk about the other definition of best. What if best isn't about numbers, but about the most memorable, engaging, and emotional experience? What if it's about how a car makes you feel? By that measure, the Audi R8 doesn't just have a fighting chance. It might be the undefeated champion. The argument begins and ends with that engine. It's an engine for the ages, delivering a sound that no turbo or hybrid can ever replicate. In a world where supercars are getting quieter and more digital, the R8 is a glorious analog mechanical blast. Driving it is an event. Every tunnel is an opportunity. Every downshift is pure joy. It's a sensory assault in the best possible way. Then there's the usability. This is still the benchmark for a supercar that doesn't punish you. The ride is compliant, the ergonomics are perfect, and the cabin is comfortable. It's a car you could happily take on a 1,000-mile road trip, something you might think twice about in its hardcore rivals. It strikes an almost unmatched balance between extreme performance and grand touring comfort. Finally, you have to consider its legacy. This is it. The end of the line. This isn't just another model year. It's the final chapter for one of the most iconic supercars of this century. Buying one isn't just buying a car. It's buying a piece of automotive history. It's a monument to the peak of the internal combustion era. That finality adds an emotional weight that you can't quantify on a spec sheet. So, here's the final answer. The 2025 Audi R8 is not the best supercar for the person who obsesses over spreadsheets and lap times. The head says, buy the hybrid. The numbers don't lie. But the heart? The heart wants the V10. The Audi R8 is the best supercar for the driver who prioritizes soul over statistics. It's for the enthusiast who believes how a car delivers its performance is just as important as the performance itself. It's the automotive equivalent of a beautiful automatic Swiss watch in a world of smartwatches. They all tell the time, but the mechanical watch has a soul, a history, a craftsmanship that the digital screen can never replicate. The R8 is a deliberate choice. It's a choice to celebrate sound and mechanical connection over the silent, brutal efficiency of the new world. So, is the 2025 Audi R8 the best supercar? No. It's something more important. It's the best modern classic you can buy new. It is the perfect, poignant, and powerful farewell to a golden age of performance. And in a few years, when naturally aspirated engines are a distant memory, we will look back on this car and realize that maybe, just maybe, it was the best of them all. The Audi R8 has always been the sensible supercar, the one you chose with your head. But now, at the very end of its life, it has become the emotional choice, the one you choose with your heart. It's a car defined not by its 0-60 time, but by the sound it makes getting there. A beautiful, glorious, and tragically endangered machine. But that's just my take. What do you think? In a world of hybrids and EVs, is there still a place for a glorious V10 like this? Is the raw, emotional experience more important than the ultimate lap time? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.